rapper. Can you talk a little bit about like, how you came to make music?
I've been making music for 15 years easily. I listen to a lot of Slipknot and Corn and stuff like that, but I also listen to a lot of Eminem and ICP. And a buddy of mine had an older brother who rapped, and we got a hold of his equipment and we started making demos back in like 2006. So that's how I got started. Was just trying to emulate all the fucked up shit that I listen to.
Man, like a lot of people, you've been targeted by like Talib Kweli. You know, like I'm sure he's probably called you a white supremacist. Can you talk about that?
I don't really know much about him. I know, he's like a legend or whatnot. Seems to be a little off his rocker. Me and my homie that I make music with, we always give props to the ones that originated this shit. Originators of hip hop like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, originators of horrorcore like Scum and things like that. Isham. We give props to the ones that started this shit. I don't know how that whole stuff. He didn't really target me directly, but he was targeting a buddy of mine, Wrath of God, and I don't know. There was going back and forth, and I believe Wrath of God got Talib's account closed down somehow, which is pretty funny. But I wasn't super involved. I was kind of more like watching it from the sidelines. But if
Most
somebody was
definitely. Like, yeah, like Rafa guy, he's a cool person. Like you talk about him, like is he a white supremacist guy? No, definitely. Talib Kweli has labeled him that.
right. Definitely doesn't seem to be that way. I've never had any indication that he was. So I think it's pretty silly. I think it's one of those situations where it's like, well, you don't agree with me, so I'm gonna use the most weaponized term that I could possibly say. So you call somebody a racist, or you call somebody some other names. It doesn't matter what they say to defend themselves. If you've labeled them that, then that must be what they are, right? It's one of those situations. But I wholeheartedly do not believe Wrath of is any sort of bigot, of any kind.
I don't believe that either, man. Like, I see you're finding, like, I was looking like at the link you sent me of the show you recently did. Can you tell me a little bit about like your music? If like people were to check you out, like what song would you recommend they listen to?
Okay, no doubt. So I'm in a group. It's called Flesroy Leak. We have a hard to pronounce band name, but it's Flesroy Leak, and it's actually Kill Yourself spelled backwards. We've been making demos and stuff since like '07. We had about 4 years of inactivity, and now we're just kind of brushing off the cobwebs and getting started. I would recommend to listen to our self-titled release, Flesroy Leak, as a starting point. And what the kind of stuff we do, it deals with mental disturbances, being under extreme emotional stress, drug use, things of that sort. If you're feeling some sort of way, you should never feel like you're alone in this, because we've all gone through those feelings and emotions. And we're also theatrical. Obviously, we wear these wrestling masks. We do wrestling moves to each other as part of our set. And I got a little dried blood on my mask here. It didn't come out, but I let people from the crowd come and staple dollar bills to me, which is a pretty exciting part of our live show.
Most definitely. And you were telling me like that you're a father. What is it like balancing like a music career and parental duties?
Okay, yeah. I mean, when we're in the car, we're listening to like Coco Melon and all this children's educational stuff. But when I'm by myself, I'm listening to the most hardcore shit. So it is, when the mask is on, I'm Dr. X from Flesroy Leak. But when the mask is off, I'm just Jeremy. I'm just somebody's dad. You know what I mean? And it's a totally different life. The way I am on stage versus how I am with my family, completely different. And he's only 3 years old. He sees the mask, and he's like, "Oh, X," you know what I mean? Beyond that, I'm not showing him my music until he's like 30.
Uh, how would you know? How did the origin of the name Dr. X start? Like, where does that come from?
I'm from Utica, New York. There's a wrestler, Dick Beyer. He um, he was the original Dr. X. Um, so it comes from a masked wrestler who was a professional wrestler. He would wrestle on the same card as, like, he would go in and wrestle a match without a mask. Then later he'd go back and he'd put on a mask and he'd wrestle again, and people wouldn't know that this was the same person. So I'm just paying homage to the real Dr. X, and the way I spell my name for my solo stuff, it's D0ct0R X, because there's a heavy metal band called Dr. X, and there's a few other acts called Dr. X. So I have to differentiate which Dr. X I am, but I'm the real fucking Dr. X. And it's just a shout out to wrestlers. You know, he was like an anonymous figure. I'm like pseudo anonymous. If you know me, you know you know me. I ain't trying to hide who I am, but it's just a character that I really love and enjoy.
That's dope, man. What's next for you in your career?
Well, we just got started. Like I said, we were on the up and up, and we peaked in like 2019. We opened up for Shaggy 2 Dope and Ouija Mac, and then we just didn't do shit for years. People kind of drifted apart, and another guy that was in our group, he moved to Florida. Then he got arrested. But now we're back in action. We just did a show with Scum and his label. These guys are pioneers of horrorcore.
Right.
And I believe that we have another big show announcement I can't really mention right now, but it will be coming very shortly. And we're just going to keep going, man. I feel like we're on the brink of success. We definitely got to get in there and record some new material, but I got a few pages worth of things to work on.
Man, being from the Midwest, I got a lot of respect for, horrorcore artists. I grew up, listening to groups like ICP and stuff. So like, I definitely wish you the best of luck. I'm gonna check out your music, man. And I thank you for taking the time. I know this was kind of last minute, but like, I'm glad we could talk and get it in. I'd love to have you back.
Brian, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Keep in contact. You're a great dude. Much love, man.
Definitely. Peace.
Peace.